Brazilian Group is number one. A kickstart for Australia. Gold and a world record.
Now it's Donovan Bailey trying to pick up runners. Donovan Bailey is putting on a third. He's got it! 9.84, a world record for Donovan Bailey and a gold medal!
A perfect score. 10.0 for Nadia Comaneci. A perfect score.
The first time I've never seen this.
So in over 100 years, nobody's won as many medals at the Olympic Games in any sport than this great champion, Michael Phelps.
Usain Bolt sprinting ahead, winning by daylight and setting a world record, 9.68. The wind is okay. How easy was that?
Good afternoon, evening and good night once again from Off the Podium, an Olympics podcast as we come to you for our daily update of the 2016 Rio Olympic Games. Episode 7 we are here today to recap the 5th day of competition in what is proving to be quite an interesting Olympics, the Green Olympics, at least in the swimming pools. We'll possibly get to that at some point throughout this episode, but lots to discuss, lots to talk about, so much so that we've kicked the Canadian off and we're making this an Australian-only episode. Yes, Colin, sadly, is unavailable today to record. He's basking in the glory of another medal for Canada. We'll at least touch on that at some point, but we have found somebody else to discuss this with, an Australian from Emu Plains. He's recovered from his 2-day hiatus, watching the dressage and analysing everything to do with the question. It is, of course, Jarrod Lubick. Jarrod, welcome back to Off the Podium.
Thank you. It's good to be back. Far out from the joys of being in first place to dropping back into third. I think the equestrian inventors heard us that we didn't have a silver, and they were trying to aim for that. Probably purposely knocked off a couple of the jumps, and then just too many. And I mean, that was a real upset. So it took me a couple of days to get over that.
Do you blame Burto, Jarrod? I blame Burto. I mean, we had gold until those final 2 jumps.
Yeah, I blame Burto. I think Santos II probably wanted a couple of oats the night before, and I don't think he was fed properly. And that's what I'm going to go with.
Bit of the dodgy oats that if he had some, or just he didn't have them. So
yeah, he didn't have them. Should have given him a bit more.
Right. Well, there you go. It's Burto's fault. If we end up losing to New Zealand on this medal tally by a medal, a gold medal particularly, then that's Burto's fault. We can ship him off to Auckland and he can live in New Zealand. But it's back to a golden day for Australia, at least, here on day 5. We didn't win one yesterday. Felt a bit strange, but, we should have, thanks Burto. But, a good day for Australia again on day 5. 1 gold medal. Kyle Chalmers in the 100-metre freestyle. First time we've won that event, I believe, since the Mexico Olympics. So a long time coming. A lot of silver in that event. Of course, James Magnuson and Eamon Sullivan, the kings of silver. That's why we're not winning any in Rio, Jarrod, because James Magnuson's only in one event and Eamon Sullivan's not competing. So that's why we're not winning the silver.
Oh, definitely. I mean, we need to get Eamon Sullivan back. I thought we were going to send the call off. Luckily, we've won a couple of silver today to kind of get rid of that jinx.
Yeah, exactly. But a great result there for Kyle Chalmers. We did pick up 2 silver. We got a 200-metre butterfly for Madeline Groves. Great effort. And I loved seeing her after the race because she was, we were kind of going into that event thinking that we might win gold because she was the fastest qualifier. So it's kind of like, oh, great, gold here. She gets silver. You're slightly disappointed. But as soon as you're seeing her being interviewed and she's over the moon that she's finished second and won a silver medal, that always makes it better for me because it's like, well, I would be that way. If I win any colour Olympic medal, I would be happy. Even if it's a Canadian bronze, I would be happy. So, I don't know if you saw her after the race there at all, Jarrod, but it's good to see somebody when they're excited to just get any medal.
Yeah, I think that's the right attitude. That's the attitude you need. I mean, you're at the Olympics, you're against the best in the world. Maybe it's a little bit disappointing that you didn't win gold, but just imagine all the people who would just love to be there competing. So, it was really great to see that.
You could be Burto and cost us a gold, but she took that. And then another silver in the pool in the 4x200 metres women's relay. Leah Neal, Emma McKeon, Bronte Barrett, Tamsin Cook, and Jessica Ashwood, who swam in the heats. Good to see that they picked up a medal. We missed out in the men's yesterday, but it was good at least that we got that one there. So after starting the day with no silvers, we've gotten 2 now. I was thinking of you when we were winning these silvers, Jarrod. I mean, you sort of touched on it a second ago before, but I mean, without these silver medals, we would be behind Hungary in the medal tally right now, and you don't want to be behind those people who don't know how to laugh.
Yeah, that's the worst spot to be.
Yes. So I mean, like I could imagine that you're satisfied with day 5 because again we pick up the silvers. We're ahead of Hungary. We're ahead of Canada now when it comes to silver medals. We're equal with New Zealand, but that's okay because we have got those things called gold medals. New Zealand. That's what happens when you finish first. So satisfied with day 5?
Oh, very satisfied. I think. I mean, losing that equestrian team gold, it felt like the gold was missing. I think we didn't have a great day in the pool yesterday either. So everything was kind of going a little bit pear-shaped. So it's nice that the status quo is returned, and we're back winning gold. We've got rid of the monkey off our back with no silvers, so now we can just focus on gold the rest of the way.
You say monkey in the back, as Colin referred to him yesterday. Michael Phelps perhaps is a bit gorilla-ish. And just quickly, actually, I want to kind of make a bit of an apology for yesterday's episode because when Colin and I were recording, we were sort of watching the footage still because the swimming was still going on, and they were showing Michael Phelps' celebration, and like we had no sound on, so we had no idea who he was kissing, and he was kissing a baby, and they had like super slow-mo of him kissing this baby. Turned out that's Michael Phelps' son. So apologies for saying anything about Michael Phelps kissing a random baby. It was his son, alright? It was fine. I don't know if you were quite aware that Michael Phelps' son is that kissable, Jarrod, but he apparently is.
Yeah, I just thought you win 21 gold medals and you can go around kissing children. Evidently, that's how it works. But the fact that it was his son made it a little bit more acceptable.
Yeah, exactly. I should mention, even though we have no Canadian contingent on this show today, we'll still keep up the tradition of talking about them. They won a bronze today. Women's 4x200, Australia beat them, but for Katarina Savard, Penny Olksiak, again, we'll get to her, I can never say her name properly, but whatever, Emily Overholt, Brittany McLean, Taylor Rutt, Kennedy Goss, obviously a few of them swim in the heats, but more importantly, Penny Oleksiak, I'll get it right one day, with her that's her second bronze, and she's already won a silver. She's won 3 medals at these Olympics. What's going on? A Canadian winning multiple medals at the Summer Games. The most important thing for her, because as we've talked about, the Canadians win money for their medals. She's picked up 40 grand just by swimming for probably a grand total of about 10 minutes. So, yeah, maybe we need to move to Canada and get a gig on their summer team, because not only would we win bronzes, we would win money.
Oh, exactly. I mean, that's not a bad day's work. I'd hate to jump the gun, but the odds on Penny being the closing ceremony flag bearer must be very high at this point in time.
Oh, extremely high. I mean, God, it's between her and their field hockey team when they're not getting beaten like 7-0 by the Dutch. I mean, that's a win for Canada. I would put some money on that too, I think, Jarrod. We need Colin to confirm that, perhaps, what they're talking about in Canada right now, because... yeah, I mean, God, they haven't won a gold yet. Doesn't look like they're going to. Trampoline is still a couple of days away. Rowing's not doing too well for them. So, yep, Penny, get your grip ready to go to hold that flag. But it's good. I mean, right now, let's pretend, Jarrod, that we don't win any more medals for the rest of these Olympics. Who's carrying our flag right now after day 5?
Oh, it's got to be I can't think. Mental blank. What's his name?
Mac?
Kyle Chalmers.
Oh, Kyle Chalmers. Oh,
no,
right.
not Mac.
Not
I
Mac.
mean, you can't put Mac at the front. That's security reasons. That's a bad spot to put him. He should probably blend in at this point in time.
He might get splashed.
So we'll have to put Kyle up there instead. Yeah.
The great thing about this, though, is that we'll get to it when we talk about the commentary for this, but all the pre-race talk for this 100 metres was on Cam McAvoy. It wasn't about Kyle Chalmers. It was about Mr. McAvoy. You know, he was the, reigning world champion, all this sort of stuff. Second, in the World Championships. He only finished 7th. But props to Cam McAvoy, though. He got out of the pool and he was very humble in defeat and talked up Kyle and all this sort of stuff. But, yeah, everyone's talking up Kyle. He's 18 years old. He's from Adelaide, I believe. His dad used to play for the Crows and for Port Adelaide. So... all of Adelaide are celebrating the fact that they can do well in something. And, I mean, I didn't know two shits about Kyle Chalmers until basically this morning, Jarrod. I don't know if you're on the same page.
Oh, exactly. I was at work and I was checking the live blog of what was going on. And when they said we'd won gold in the event, I just assumed, I was like, oh, Cam must have won. And then to read it and to see, I'm like, who even is this Kyle person? And when did they become part of the Olympic team? Is this like some late ring-in? And then watching the race for him to sort of come from behind. I think he turned in 7th place or something, and you thought, oh, he's kind of out of it. Was just really impressive to watch. It makes you wonder whether, it was an interesting decision to pull Cam McAvoy out of the men's 4x200 relay, and him not placing in this, it's kind of like, was that decision justified?
I think it might have been. But it was interesting, actually, you say that. I'll jump ahead, because this is obviously a good time to mention this, but in the commentary, you've got, of course, Basil Zemplis calling this race, and, both Aussies aren't really in it at the 100-metre turn. And I think the Canadian guy that we were talking about yesterday, I've gone blank on his name right now, but he was leading at that point. But, the commentator Basil's going like, here comes McAvoy, McAvoy's pumping, here comes McAvoy, oh, but it's Chalmers wins gold! Like, he wasn't even looking at the other Aussie who's actually in front winning us a gold medal. So even the Channel 7 commentators have no fucking idea who they are. John Rooney's gone, yes, Kyle Chalmers wins gold! I'm like, this is the whole thing. And then I think they showed footage of whatever school he's from in Adelaide, all these people celebrating. At least one place knew who he was. So, new Australian hero that 24 hours ago, no one knew who he was.
Oh, good on him. I love how they're able to dig up all this footage after somebody win gold.
Yes.
They've done a couple of segments on, I think it was our shooter who won gold.
Yes.
And they made it look like they were filmed before she went into the event, but I'm fairly sure they were filmed after she'd already won.
Quickly, make this look like you're boarding the plane to Rio. Make this like the day that you found out you're going to the Olympics. Yes, Santo Condrelli is the guy, of course, who we were talking about yesterday, the Italian-born American who represents Canada. So he was leading at the 50-metre mark, but he ended up finishing 4th. So unlucky for Canada not to be double bronze medalists today. Now, outside of the medals, our other Aussie results, it was a fairly decentish day for us elsewhere. Archery, our bronze medalist archery solo players. Sadly, Ryan Tyak went out in the opening round, and I know that one of our other competitors is through to the next round, which I believe is happening tomorrow. So it is. So he'll compete in the next round tomorrow. So at least we've got one sort of in with a shot there. Pardon the pun. Basketball, big result. We lost the Boomers, but we were within 10 points of the Dream Team. We led at half-time, and we really took it up to them. I don't know if you caught any of the basketball, Jarrod, but that's decent. We'll take a 10-point loss to the US.
Oh, yeah, that was amazing. I didn't get to watch it, but, reading a live blog is not the same as watching something, but, with this, it felt like it was, because just the scores popping up and seeing we were ahead, and then they'd catch up, and then we'd pull ahead again. You didn't even need the footage. You could see just the scores. That was good enough. It was unbelievable. Everybody at work was asking me how they were going. We were getting score updates. This is what we wanted. I kind of feel like if we'd won, in some ways, that would have been a bad thing just because of the expectations it would have placed on the team. But to go this close against the US, you couldn't really ask for any more.
It's amazing with Australia how much we talk up certain people and teams, and for the most part, they'll choke. And then, we'll try and analyse it and try not to beat them down that much. But it's like, with the basketball, it was all sort of talked up, like, we could possibly beat the US, like, this is good. We lose, but everyone's talking it up like it is a win. So, that's great, particularly from the way Australia's reacting to it. So, you never know, we might play them again for a medal. Haha, just putting the ringer on them. Beach volleyball, we had two teams in the tournament today. Louise Borden and Taliqua Clancy are through to the round of 16. They knocked off the 6-seeded Dutch team in Pool E to top it, and will go through to the next round. Good for them. Sadly, though, and I know this one personally hurts you, Jarrod, Maria Fidel Sola and Nicole Laird lost to China and are out. Sorry.
Dang it. This is just the Olympics. You have a team that wins 3 times, you have a team that loses 3 times.
Yeah.
I'm not inviting that losing team back to Tokyo.
Yes.
They could improve, but I wouldn't give them the invite back. Losing 3 matches out of 3, I think that's your Olympics up, over and done with. Time to retire or pick a different sport.
Yeah, not good enough. Look, Burto can at least finish 5th Well, we don't talk about Burto. Like, God, still letting Australia down. Damn you, Burto. Cycling, the individual road time trials were on for both men and women. Rohan Dennis, now he finished 5th, which is good, but he was leading it at the halfway point. Had to change bikes halfway through it, and would have been on for another silver had he not had to change it. Now, this is interesting. Like, you can change your bike halfway through it. Would there not be, like, a bit of play here? Like, oh, yeah, I just need to change bikes, and you just put, like, a rocket boost or something on it. Like, I mean, what sport is like in rowing? I can't see them halfway down the course. Oh, shit, the boat sucks. Quick, bring another one and get a speedboat. Like, sure, it was probably broken, but shouldn't that be it? Like, if I break my leg running the 400 metres, no one's going to come out and bring me a new leg.
Yeah, well, we know the French gymnast found that out in the vault, that you can't get a replacement leg for the next round. It would be nice to see in the rowing if a boat got replaced halfway through. I think you could be onto something. Potentially, I suppose the speedboat, that's maybe a little bit unfair. But just seeing the teams have to change boats. Maybe they had to switch with another team.
Yes. Oh, actually,
you jump out, you hop into another team's rowing boat, and you just go from where they're up to. I mean, that could make things more interesting.
That is a good point, actually.
I mean, this was interesting because normally in cycling, it's a flat tire or the chains come off or something, but he snapped off a handlebar.
Right, I didn't actually know
Which
that
to me,
much.
I was
How do
like,
you snap off a handlebar in the middle of a time trial of all things?
You tell me. This bike was flimsy. I'm going to say there was some tampering here. I mean, in the cycling, we've had bad luck in all of them, so there's something going wrong. I don't know who to blame. Pick a country, any country, but somebody
Hungary
is sabotaging our cycling team, and I don't like it.
Those damn unfunny Hungarians. They're coming up to it. You talk about the speedboat. Hey, that wasn't unfair. I can imagine the Russians would use a speedboat. Oh, that is legal. We didn't do anything wrong. I will appeal decision. Like, it's a bit obvious. It's fascinating with the cycling. We've obviously had the road race and we've had the time trial now. I think track cycling, I do believe, begins tomorrow, which is where we generally are pretty good at. So that will be interesting. But yeah, damn it, another silver goes begging. And the female one, Katrin Garfoot, was 9th. So good for her. And I believe the American lady who won that's about her 3rd or 4th time in a row that she's won that event. So still hasn't had it taken away yet. Hasn't put a positive sample in yet, Jarrod. So maybe she skipped a few tests. I don't know. Yeah,
3 in a row. I mean, that's hogging it a bit. You could share that around.
Hello to all our cyclists listening today. And our Russians. Who are we fending today? Equestrian, well, it's still going. Jarrod's excited. And the team dressage is on. Don't know how you feel about the team dressage compared to the overall ones that we've had. But we're 9th at the halfway point of the team dressage. But interesting to point out, our oldest Olympian at these games, Mary Hannah, at the ripe old age of 61, she competed today. Did you catch any of that, Jarrod? I mean, did you catch the team dressage?
I can't say I did. It brings back bad memories watching this. I mean, the only reason I'd probably watch the Equestrian anymore is just for Vicky's commentary, because she's an absolute legend. But as far as I'm concerned, it's over for me with the Equestrian. I couldn't find out who Bat Horse was. I thought we had a sure thing in gold, and then we wound up with bronze, and the only redeeming thing was that we beat New Zealand in that. I'm over it.
You're over
I do feel sorry. We have a 60-year-old in our team, and I feel like she's probably a little bit peeved that she's like, I'm 60, I should be getting some recognition here.
Yep.
But no, there has to be somebody who's 1 year older, and she's getting all the fame.
Yep, exactly. That's, just the bitch. When I was watching it, the cross country, the show jumping one, I was trying to find Bat Horse. There's actually a few horses there with kind of like black ears, and I was like, oh, is that Bat Horse? But they didn't look Bat Horsey enough. So, I mean, we know, the good news, actually, just really quickly, talking about cycling, the good news is that Richie Port has been found. Channel 9 found him, but we haven't found Bat Horse. So maybe we need to contact Channel 9. Like, dear Channel 9, you found Richie, find Bat Horse.
Yeah, I know Bat Horse is posing as an Italian horse, but which one I could not say.
Right, the Italians. Okay, you've always got to look out for those Italian equestrian players or riders or whatever. Hockey, good news finally for both our teams. We actually discovered how to win again. The Hockey Roos won their first game of the Olympics 6-1 over India, and Jodie Kenny scored a 100th goal for Australia. Congratulations, Jodie. And the Kookaburras, after choking big time against Spain and the Belgians, of all people, they beat Great Britain 2-1. Had we lost to Great Britain, shit would have gone down. Yeah, good result for hockey. We've been talking about Australian teams choking. There's no bigger chokers at the Olympics than the Kookaburras. I mean, we're like the best thing in the world ever in hockey, but when it comes to the Olympics, it's our kryptonite. We just choke.
Yeah, I mean, we're made to look like amateurs. The only redeeming factor is, I suppose, similar to Burto in the Equestrian and all these nicknames ending in O, the Australian female hockey team, all their names seem to rhyme. So you have the commentators, they're talking about them taking the ball down the field, and we've got Slattery, then to Flannery, then to Kenny, then to Georgie, then to Casey, and it just goes on and on. I'm like, how can... This is like a prerequisite for the Australian women's hockey team, that your name has to rhyme with somebody else in the team so it can just flow off the commentators' tongues as they go through the players passing the ball.
Oh, it's like, you got the greatest hockey player in the world, and name's like Smith. No, sorry, no, can't make the team. Sorry, just not good enough. And then she ends up going to play for, like, Canada, and she's so good that she makes the whole team win, and it's just like, good job, Hockey Roos. The rowing, sadly, was cancelled again. They're not getting too well with the rowing out there. I think that they might need to move it, perhaps. Like, we'll have it. I don't know, back in where they had it in Sydney, or we've got Lake Barrington in Tasmania.
Penrith Lakes.
Yeah, have you got
the same backdrop, but good enough.
Yeah, cool. That's not that far from you, is it? So,
No, that'd be good. Front row seats.
You can pick them up from the airport. Just like driving to and fro. You can fit some of the boats in your boot, I'm sure.
Yep.
Why not? Rugby sevens, the men's, it's all over for us. Sadly, we can't repeat the glory of the girls. We did knock off South Africa in the final round 12-5 to make the quarterfinals before promptly losing to the South Africans 22-5. But I've got some great news for those playing at home when it comes to the rugby. The fact that New Zealand have been eliminated from the sport that they're actually good at. They were beaten by Fiji, and Fiji are into the semi-finals. Now, probably doesn't seem like a big deal while we're talking about Fiji, but Fiji have never won an Olympic medal, ever, in the history of the Olympics, and they're banking on this. They're the favourites to win. This is why, Jarrod Hayne tried to bribe his way into the team to win a medal. He should have played for the Australian girls. He would have won. But they're that close. They're in the semi-finals, and they've got to play in Japan. So if they beat Japan tomorrow, they're guaranteed a medal, no matter what, gold or silver. Fiji, I can't imagine the celebrations in Suva and Fiji. Seriously, a country to have never won a medal, that small, that tiny. I don't even know if they've won a Commonwealth Games medal, Jarrod. So, I mean, this is a big deal. I think we all need to fly to Fiji tonight to celebrate this if they win it.
Oh, yeah, that'll be the place to be. If you could... Winning your first medal, I don't know what that feels like. Australia doesn't know what that feels like.
Canada definitely doesn't know what it feels like. But it's obviously Kosovo won their first ever medal at these games. It happened to be gold, but look, they haven't really been a country for that long. So it's, Fiji, I'm sure, have been a country for a very long time. So how long, perhaps? Maybe we can Google that very shortly. But, they're one of our nearby neighbours, and obviously we root for them, probably more so than New Zealand because we like them a little bit better. Actually, here we go. They've been a country since the 10th of October 1970. So they're actually really not that old either. Independence from the United Kingdom. I thought they were probably a little bit older than that. And I will correct myself in saying that they have won plenty of medals at the Commonwealth Games, 15 to be precise, which is still less than the amount of gold medals that Michael Phelps has won at the Olympics. But anyway, so go Fiji in the rugby. Go on, win gold or silver or bronze, anything. Sailing. There were lots of stuff happening in the sailing. Nobody, I think, pays attention to the sailing, not just in Australia, but anybody in the Olympics till the second week, because they try and explain it. They're all like, oh, and Australia did well today in the sailing. They got an 8th, a 7th, a 6th, a 5th, a 4th, a 3rd, a 2nd, a 5th. There's 100 races a day. They try to explain it, and then we only give a shit by, day 13 when they're like, oh, and we're probably going to win a gold medal today. Do you care about the sailing at all?
I tried to watch it for a bit, and pretty much exactly the same thing happened to me. I'm like, what am I watching? What is happening? They had a zoomed-out picture, and they just had all the boats and little tags saying what country they were, and they're all heading in different directions. And like, what type of race do you go different ways? And like, where's the track? What's happening here? So that was a short stint of watching sailing. I said I'll flick away and just do the normal thing, and if we win a medal in it, I'll celebrate it, but I won't be watching it again.
Well, without them in London, we would have won one gold medal, so I shouldn't really complain. But, I mean, people talk about synchronised swimming as being a poor spectator sport. Well, we have barely touched on synchronised swimming in this entire podcast. We will get to synchronised swimming. But I could imagine that sailing is a worse spectator sport because, like, again, as you were saying, like, you've got boats going every single way. It relies on TV for them to put graphics on the water to show you where the finish line is. Like, we obviously have the big Sydney to Hobart ending here in Hobart every year. I've got along to watch it, to the end of it. You don't know what the fuck's going on because it's so far out the line where it's finishing. You're just staring. You see this boat. There's about 100 helicopters flying around it, all these other boats. You're going, what's happening, what's happening, what's happening? And all of a sudden, somebody on the shore will go, woo! And you're like, oh, yeah, they won! Like, you don't know what's going on. At least the synchronised swimming, you see a leg, you see an arm, you see somebody getting thrown up in the air, and you're in an enclosed building. You're not 80 metres away from the shore, and they're out 10 kilometres out of the water. So I'm putting it out there, Jarrod. Sailing, perhaps the worst spectator sport of the Olympics.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think especially depending on your country's flag. I mean, we've got the Union Jack. New Zealand has the Union Jack. Great Britain has the Union Jack. You don't know who you're cheering for out there. You're probably cheering for the wrong people as they come across the line.
Yep.
Not a great sport to watch. Lots of people there, but not a great sport to watch. I think people are just there to... I don't think they were watching the sailing. I think they were just having a day out at the beach.
I think they're there because it's probably one of the few sports that's free. It's like they can actually afford to go to it. But like we were talking about the fencing the other day, like about how it's all lit up with lights, and Colin was saying like, what other sports can... I think sailing is your perfect sport. Like hold it at night, fit your boats with neon LED lights, and there you go. You've got yourself an exciting sport to watch. I'd watch that.
Yeah, I think there's many things they could do. That's one of them. Giving each team one cannonball to fire at another team could be another one to liven things up. Making people walk the plank. I don't know. I think there's all these new sports coming into the Olympics for the younger generation to make things more interesting. But I think sailing is one that they need to focus on revamping because, as you said, it's not the best to watch. Combined
sport climbing up the mast as they go along, pump out large amounts of Pirates of the Caribbean music as they're sailing along. Yeah. Email us, people. Listen to your comment. Tell us how they can make sailing exciting. And a big hello to all our sailors listening today. I hope you're having a great day. Shooting, we had the double trap, an event that we've won in the past. I think Russell Mark won that back in Atlanta. And silver in Sydney. James Willett, he finished 5th. He made the final. Good for him, James. 5th is decent. I'd be happy with 5th at the Olympics still. That's good. In the swimming out of our medals, yesterday's future wife of Ben Waterworth, Brianna Throssell, was 8th in the 200 metre butterfly. So yes, well done. I will celebrate by buying her a rose. And Cam McAvoy, as we mentioned, 7th in the 100 metres. Taylor McCowan, she was the fastest qualifier for the 200 metre breaststroke final tomorrow, so that was great. No doubt another silver or bronze coming up there for Taylor. And Mitch Larkin is in again, one half of the backstroke bonkers. He's into the 200 metre backstroke final, so... good for you, Mitch. Well done. And finally, the water polo in the green, well, actually half green pool. It's not as green as the diving pool. We beat Japan 8-6. So we're doing okay, the Sharks. We were talking a bit about that yesterday. I enjoy watching the water polo. Are you a bit of a water polo nut, Jarrod?
Yeah, I think it's good fun to watch. It has moments where I don't quite understand what's going on. I mean... the level of contact that you can have with other people, I get a little bit confused, and there's exclusions, but it's worth it for the goals. I mean, the goals are, I suppose, the highlight, and there's always some great ones. I do love when it kind of ricochets off other people and goes in the top corner, or they just miss, and people are swimming everywhere, and it's just a bit crazy and chaotic, and that's what you want in an Olympic sport.
It's one of, we were talking about this yesterday, like, it's just... I have trouble swimming just from one side of the pool to the other, let alone treading water and having to pick up a ball and catch it and duck and dive and I don't know. It's just a fascinating sport, and I think obviously you've got to be very athletic to play water polo, which is something that I'm not. But yes, anyway, good for them, the Sharks, beating Japan. This is usually the part where we throw to Colin, say, hey Colin, what's going on with Canada? I didn't really take too much notice. I got a little bit. The two main ones, I think, obviously they got a medal. We touched on that one, but here's one that I randomly pulled out of nowhere. Maria Eve Belshimian Nadeau, one of our favourites here on Off the Podium, she finished 9th in the women's 69 kilogram weightlifting. Now, weightlifting's a sport which is interesting. Did you catch any of the women's 69 kilogram weightlifting, Jarrod?
I have not seen any of the weightlifting yet. It's on my list of things to see. I don't know if there's any left. If there is, I'll try and catch some. It's not the most interesting sport, but good on them for lifting heavy stuff, I suppose.
Sadly, it's a rest day tomorrow, Jarrod, but then there's plenty more still to come. Wait till we get the super heavyweights. They're the men that you want to be with. Anybody out there. It doesn't matter what your sexuality is. They are, and the women as well. Have a party. But it's such who invented this sport? I've got to come up with a sport. Let's lift heavy shit. How does that become an Olympic? You're on the bandwagon of why isn't squash an Olympic sport? I know the whole faster, higher, stronger mantra of the Olympics, and fair enough, this is definitely stronger, but to me, they're just a bunch of cocky bastards. I can lift 400 kilos, can you? It's really such a fascinating sport. And we'll get to I want to get to in the athlete of the day, there was another pretty horrific injury. I don't know if you saw that, Jarrod, but came in the weightlifting. But, seriously, if you're going to have a death in the Olympics, and we don't want that, we obviously don't, but, this is a dangerous sport to have. If you're holding that amount of weight, all you need to do is bend in a certain way, and your head can literally be caved in live on television.
Yeah, every time they get the successful lift or struggle with it and drop it to the ground, you're always somebody waiting for somebody to be beheaded. I think in terms of tests of strength, I was reading the other day that tug of war used to be an Olympic sport. Yes. And I think maybe that's where we go in replacing weightlifting in the next couple of years.
There's nothing wrong with it. Seriously, that would be a fun sport to watch. Hark back to the great old days of the Amazing Race Australia versus New Zealand. How do they start that off? With tug of war Uluru. There's nothing more Australian than that. So if we ever get the Olympics, when Hobart gets it, we'll ship off the tug of war Uluru. But it's like when you watch a car race, a lot of people watch car racing because they're waiting for somebody to crash. There's just those people who love that. I'm sure there are a bunch of people, as you said, drop it, decapitate yourself. Oh, yes, I'm all for it. But tug of war, definitely. Flim Flom 2028, we're getting it back. Absolutely. That was the extent of Canada's results that I can tell you. Sorry for all our Canadians out there who want to know more. Oh, I'm going to listen to that podcast. They talk about our results. Well, that's the extent you get. Other results that are worth of note, I mentioned about Fiji. We're talking to me a little bit yesterday about my fandom for the Germany soccer team. Well, they had a lazy 10-0 win against Fiji and are through to the quarterfinals, and we'll meet Portugal there. Big one here, though, in the tennis side of things, Jarrod. Serena's out. What's going on?
Tennis in the Olympics, it's so weird. If you look at the medalists from singles over the years, half the time it's not the favourite. But Serena, she had such a great track record. And I did not see this coming at all. Her and Venus losing in the doubles was a big enough shock, but you thought, okay, she's only in the singles now. She can play on that. She's unbeatable, but I don't know. Lately, people have been getting the better of her. So, is her dominance of tennis coming to an end? Every time it seems to be, she steps it up again. But this was just a big shock. I don't have to recover from it.
I actually didn't even realise she'd lost until I looked up the results, literally, and there I was. I'm looking at the seeds and people who are left in both the singles. So if we go to the women's side of things, We should mention she was beaten by the Ukrainian Elena Svitolina, the 15th seed. She will now play Petra Kvitova in the quarters, so that's a decent match. Then we go to the next quarterfinal. Monica, is it Pug? How do you say her name from Puerto Rico?
Yep,
Pug. I mean, I've heard of her, but I couldn't tell you anything she's done. And she's up against the great German Laura Sigmund. I mean, she's a star of the future. She could be like 50 for all I don't know. Madison Keys is still in it for America. She's up against the great Russian Dara Kasatkina. Obviously the only one that didn't get caught taking whatever Maria Sharapova did. And then the other quarterfinal, we've got Johanna Konta from Britain against Angelique Kerber, the German who won the Australian Open this year. So, I mean, there's a couple still going there, but yeah, you weren't expecting, no Serena in here or like anybody else. Like, I mean, you're a huge tennis fan, but are you kind of losing interest in this now with the depth of the field we've got left?
A little. I'm lucky that Nadal's still on the men's side of things, so I mean that will keep me watching that. But yeah, in the women's, it's hard to predict what's going to happen. I think the rain tour has been raining kind of consecutive days out, so they're running behind schedule there. So who knows what's going to happen? But yeah, Serena going out that early, I think it was only the third round, not even quarterfinals. It's just I'm still kind of flabbergasted at it.
Yeah, well, in the men's side of things, I mean, yeah, we've still got Rafa. Gilles Simon, that's his opponent in the next round. We've got the great Brazilian Tomas Bellucci up against the Belgian David Goffin. We've got Gael Monfils still in there against Marian Cilic. And then in the Slovakian, Andrei Martin will play John Millman's conqueror Kei Nishikori. Then we have the other great Russian of Evgeny Donsky up against Steve Johnson, the American, and then we've got Fabio Fognini up against my man Andy Murray. So at this rate, Murray's going to lose to Fognini, or Fognini, whatever, the Italian. So don't put your money on Andy. The men's doubles, we talked a bit about this yesterday. I mean, Rafa's in the men's doubles too, Jarrod. You're excited about that. I mean, he's up against the great Canadian doubles man of Daniel Nestor, the one half of the Woodies conqueror back from Sydney. So, and then, I mean, how's this for a star-studded semi-final in the second men's semi-final? The Americans of Steve Johnson and Jack Sock, what a name, and Florin Meregia and Horia Takau of Romania. Oh, that's a tough one to pick.
Yeah, I wonder who's going to end up winning the whole thing. Maybe it's the pair who wins from the hardest side of the draw. Split loyalties there for Colin tomorrow, though, with Rafa playing against some Canadians.
Yeah, Jack Sock. Wow, great name. And the women's, so the quarters in that one, there's Spain, Russia, Czech Republic, and Italy. So that's about as much as we're talking too much about tennis. There's more than tennis. We love the tennis, but anyway, so that's other results that were happening outside of Australia and Canada, well, at least the ones that we're going to focus on anyway. The actual winners of the medals today, the ones at least that we didn't touch on that weren't Australian or Canadian, which is generally what we mainly talk about, but we like to recap kind of on the other medals. So the canoeing, the men's slalom, K1 went to Great Britain, Joseph Clark. Famous victory there for Joseph, we have to admit there, Jarrod. Both you and I predicted that before the Olympics.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the ones that I'd penciled in, as it was done and dusted before the event began. Absolutely.
He beat out a Slovenian and a Czech Republican. The cycling, as we said, the road time trials, gold went for the men, Fabian Cancellara for Switzerland, and as we mentioned, the American, Kristen Armstrong. That's a dangerous name to have in cycling. She got a lot. She's won a lot, so she'll lose a lot eventually. Diving, now this is interesting actually, because Colin was talking up the fact that China came into these games saying, we're going to sweep every event. We're going to win every single event in the diving. They haven't, because they got a bronze in the men's synchronised 3-metre springboard, but gold went to the Brits. I didn't know Britain could dive. Chris Mears and Jack Laha, whatever his name is. But we should mention this, the green pool. I was just watching the news before we started recording this. It's algae, apparently. That doesn't make it sound safe. Like, that kind of sounds disgusting. What the hell's going on there?
Yeah, that's a bit confusing, I think. Well, I mean, the positive, we've got to look at the positive. The positive to this is the triathlon can now be run in that diving pool because it's pretty much just a river.
Yes.
I mean, that's saving money. That's using that venue again. I think this is all positive.
Yes. It's so fascinating to just kind of see the fact that, like, I mean, if I'm a diver, I'm not going to go in that water. Like, it just looks gross. You know, I mean, do Brazilians not have pool cleaners? Like, is it just a thing that they don't know what they are? I mean, surely there's something they can do with that. Like, drain the water and put more in there? Like,
you'd think so. The way that they've just kind of shrugged it off as, oh, it's not great, but it's not going to kill you. I suppose they wanted to market it as the Green Games, and they're doing that well.
We're so passionate about our country's flag. We'll make the water green. Like, seriously, the fact that, like, Great Britain won a gold, like, if the rest of the diving tournament, if all of a sudden, like, Uzbekistan win a gold medal, and, like, Qatar, like, we know something's up with the water if the Chinese aren't winning gold medals. Like, you know.
Yeah, I think the order that they put in for pool cleaner got misplaced with the order that they put in for those little statuettes, and that's why we have so many statuettes and no pool cleaner left.
Come on, Thomas Bach, what's going on? Like, this is your job. You're the president. Like, you know, this is up to you. This should be on your desk first thing in the morning. Mr. President, there's a problem with the pool. We need it fixed. Oh, I will fix it in the morning. Gee. He's not off to a good start with these ones. Yeah, so in the fencing, we're all on to the fencing. Men's sabre, it was won by the unfunny Hungarian of Aron Szalgai. He did not laugh at all when he won that medal. Beat out an American. Didn't know Americans could fence. There you go. And in the women's foil, Ina Delirglazova from Russia won. So there you go. Gymnastics, the men's all-around artistic was on. Gold went to Japan. Kohei Uchimara. Congratulations for him. Japan had a very good day, actually. They won 3 gold medals, if you don't mind, on day 5. So they also won 2 gold in the judo, our favourite sport. No Uchimara's going on there. Mashu Baker won the men's 90 kilogram, and in the women's 70 kilogram, Haruka Tachimoto won there as well. So great result for Japan. No rowing gold. As I said, rowing was out of the equation today. Shooting outside, well, I mentioned the double trap. This is a big deal, actually. Ferhad Al-Dihani won gold. Won gold for the independent Olympic athletes, Jarrod. This is the very first time the IOA have ever won a gold medal. Now, he's originally actually from Kuwait, but he's obviously competing underneath the the independent Olympic athletes. Big deal. This is great. Good on Fahid.
Oh, I'm happy for him. I mean, it would have been better if it had been somebody from Team Or I Want to Take You, but this is probably as close as it gets to being the refugee team. So, I mean, you could pretty much claim that.
Yeah, I think so. That's exactly. I would. And the best news about that is that if you look at the medal tally, the independent Olympic athletes are ahead of New Zealand. So it's a win-win for the world. The countries, the athletes without a country are beating New Zealand. Can we just point that out, people? And a big hello to both our New Zealand listeners who have been commenting very well on our Facebook page. We do love you both. Also in the shooting, Jin Jong-oh from South Korea won the men's 50-metre pistol. Swimming, as we mentioned, Kyle Chalmers won the 100-metre freestyle. This is a big result. The 200-metre breaststroke was won by a Kazakhstanian, Jarrod, Dmitry Balandin. I didn't know people from Kazakhstan could swim. This is great.
I mean, that's impressive. That'd be like us, the equivalent of us winning a medal in the Winter Olympic Games.
Exactly. This is big. They're celebrating big, long and hard in Kazakhstan. 200-metre butterfly, as I said, Madeline Groves won the silver, but it was actually won by a Spaniard in Maria Belmonte. Congratulations. And the swimming, where we also got a silver in the 200 4x2. Who do you think won it? USA, of course they did. Katie Ledecky, another goal. That's a third of the games, if I am not mistaken. And Missy Franklin, who we talked about yesterday as being a bit of a dud these games, well, she's gotten a gold because she was part of that team. Women's table tennis, China Ding Ning from that. Good result for her And in the weightlifting, as I said, actually I didn't say, but Kazakhstan won 2 gold today. We should mention this. They won another gold in the men's 77 kilogram. Nijat Rahimov in a world record lift, if you don't mind. There you go. Lifting heavy shit, you can break world records. And in the women's 69 kilogram, China took that one as well. Zhang Yang Mei, gold for China. In that event. So that means that we need to look at a certain tally of medals, and if I can get the right screen in front of me, I will be able to tell you that. Australia have dropped to 4th. Actually, no, we've jumped to 4th. We were, I think, 5th yesterday. So we have won 5 gold, 2 silver, 5 bronze, 12 in total. USA on top, 11 gold, 11 silver, 10 bronze. China second, Japan in third. See, if bloody Burto had won us that gold medal, Jarrod, we would be in third right now because we've won more silver than Japan. So they've won 6 gold, 1 silver, and 11 bronze. 5th, Hungary, the unfunny Hungarians. Hello, Hungary. We do love you. 5 gold, 1 silver, 1 bronze. Canada are sitting pretty still in 34th place with their 0 gold, 1 silver, 5 bronze. Doing very, very well. And New Zealand are still in 31st place with their 2 silver medals. And again, let's point that out. They are behind the independent Olympic athletes. Actually, just before we recorded this episode, Jarrod, as I said, I was watching the news, and our newsreader gives the medal tallies. Like, Australia currently in 4th place, blah, 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 blah. And New Zealand are currently sitting in 31st place. I'm like, why do we have to have that on the news? Like, we can't
help ourselves, can we?
We have more neighbours than New Zealand if they're trying to be polite. Like, Indonesia's closer to Australia, isn't it, than New Zealand? Like, where's Indonesia? Like, I think if they need to do this every day, just pull one out of your ass, like newsreaders of Australia. Don't just all of a sudden be like, New Zealand are in third. Be like, and Tonga yet to win a medal. Just like, surprise us. And Sierra Leone, yep, still without a medal. Like, I'm down for that. Like, why can't we just do that?
Yeah, I would like to know where the Solomon Islands are coming, to be quite frank, and it doesn't make the news coverage, which is a shame.
Oh, I want to take you, still without a medal. Like, come on, fix it up, news readers. So yes, there we go. That wraps up the result and the medals and everything along those lines. Jarrod, what did you watch on day 5? Obviously, we touched on a few things. Was there anything else that you watched that we haven't mentioned?
I mean, it was just a lot of confusion. The sailing I mentioned before was just utter confusion. Water polo was confusing. The hockey was great to watch just because of the commentary and all the names rhyming. Yeah, nothing that we haven't mentioned. The beach volleyball was definitely a highlight, winning the third of our group games. I mean, that was top-notch.
Well, I want to touch a little bit on the beach volleyball when we get to our Channel 7 segment, because I actually want to implement something a little bit interesting in that segment today. But I watched a bit of that, and I found it fascinating. I think it must have been a bit chilly in Rio today. I don't know if you saw that, because one of the Australian teams were wearing like a t-shirt underneath their bikini. Must have been a bit chilly. And the Dutch, they were like wearing, track pants and a jumper, basically, with their bikini on the outside. So, it's interesting to see. I mean, there's been a lot of talk, I guess, about the attire of what they wear in beach volleyball. But I mean, did you pay attention to the ones that were wearing like t-shirts and jumpers and tracky dacks?
It did feel it looked weird just because of what beach volleyball normally is. But I mean, I'd like to see athletes changing up in all sports what they wear. I'd like to see a 100-meter runner do that in a tracksuit and see how they fare.
Yes, exactly. Do swimmers do it in a Snuggie? Come on, Michael Phelps, you've won 21 gold. How many can you do wearing a Snuggie? I don't know how he would go there. Thorpe would win it in a Snuggie, wouldn't he, Jarrod?
Well, that's pretty much what he wore anyway. I mean, what's the difference between that morph suit and a Snuggie? I mean, just a couple of pieces of fabric.
It's actually fascinating with swimming, isn't it? Like, obviously, we had the whole super suit era, which they banned them, and now they just basically wear the shorty shorts or the Speedos again. But, like, I mean, we all remember back in Sydney, Thorpe's suit, and, they're all used to wear them, and we just got used to them. Like, remember, obviously, like, Kathy won the gold in her version of the super suit in athletics. Like, I miss the days where they're wearing like full-length suits in swimming, because really, when you think about sports that you can like increase things with technology, like swimming's one of the very few that there's really not a whole lot you can do. So like, why they can't wear these suits, I don't see it as a problem. I mean, you know, it's technology in some form or another. It's like, I say bring them back.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see the problem either. I think every other sport kind of advances and moves on. I mean, we don't see the tennis players still using wooden rackets. Obviously, bikes have probably changed a whole lot over the years. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, there's going to be a new supersuit at some point in time. Maybe it's going to be the Snuggie, and the Snuggie will have to be banned from all swimming competitions, which would be a real shame. But it just seemed like a big overreaction to me at the time.
Well, and the stupid thing is that they allowed all the world records to stay. It's like, oh, these are illegal. No, they're making people swim too fast. We can't have these. But all the world records you broke wearing them, we'll keep them. Like, that's like the most stupid thing. Oh, Lance Armstrong, nah, you're on drugs, mate. You can't have your gold. Like, take all your Tour de France's away. They're shit. But you broke a lot of records. We'll keep them in there still. Yeah,
doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I mean, that's just encouraging people to take drugs and cheat.
Yeah.
It's making these unrealistic expectations of how fast they can swim. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Stupid. Probably didn't want to offend somebody who set a world record in a super suit. More problems than it was worth getting rid of them.
Probably Chinese swimmers, and they were scared they were going to get splashed. So I say just go back to ancient Olympic times. Nude. Everybody has to swim naked. There you go. That's your true ability. Let's see how Michael Phelps does when his donger's hanging out in the pool.
Exactly. Leveling the competition field.
Exactly. Remember that? You ever used to watch Round the Twist growing up?
I did catch bits and pieces of it.
Here's a real throwback and the most random thing I'm ever going to bring up on off the podium. But there was that episode where Bronson swam because he had a whirling willy. So, like, there you go, folks. People are listening to this outside of Australia. They're going, what the fuck is Round the Twist and a whirling willy? I'm glad Colin's not on this episode today. But and he was in, like, a swimming race, and he swam really fast because his doodle span around really fast. So, like, there you go. I could win a gold medal at the Olympics if I could train that. Like, look out, Tokyo. Ben Waterworth's going to win a gold because he can spin his penis. Anyway, what did I watch? Round the Twist, apparently. I watched beach volleyball, swimming, basketball. I was paying attention to the shooting because I mentioned we had the double trap. Now, I don't know if you saw any of this, but obviously, these guys have double-barreled shotguns, essentially, trying to shoot these things flying in the air that turn pink as you shoot them. Great. Fantastic. Shooting, another sport which really isn't exactly the most exciting sport to watch ever. But anyway. And when they're doing the overhead shots of these people, you see the fence, like in the foreground, like in the background, sorry. But, like, this fence is probably only about 1.5 meters high. These birds are flying up probably like 4 or 5 meters. And behind that fence is a highway. Like, I'm sure, like, if there's a Brazilian car pulling his kids to school, and, like, you know, our friend from the independent Olympic athletes misses a bird, goes a little bit too far, and just accidentally, like, shoots a couple of Brazilians taking their people to school, like, there's got to be an issue there, surely. Like, there's got to be a safety issue there, Jarrod.
Yeah, well, I mean, judging by the standard of the opening ceremony, they obviously ran out of money. And I mean, cutbacks are going to happen. We've seen the green pool. Now we find out that the shooting fence is below standards. That's not high enough. I mean, who knows what's next? There may not be an athletics track. I haven't seen it. There's no evidence it exists. We'll see when we get to that event, but I have a feeling that the athletics will not be run in a stadium.
I'm pretty certain the javelin will be held with a grandstand behind where they throw the poles. So, like, if they... Oh, here's a world record! Oh, it's gone into the crowd! Oh, and it's taken out 5 people sitting down. The only 5 people at the event. So, like, that's why there's no crowd there, Jarrod. They're all getting killed by rogue bullets and rogue beach balls in the green pool. Like, I can't imagine what colour the water is in the toilets, like, if the pool's green. So, like, I seriously, I can't get over this. This is the Olympic Games, the pinnacle of sport, the greatest event in the world every 4 years. You know, countries bid and spend so much money in order to host these. And you've got the frickin' diving pool is turning green with algae, and the Brazilians are just like, it's fine. Like, we need to analyse this more. This is terrible. This is absolutely ridiculous. People laughed at me when I said Hobart could hold the Olympics. Brazil has a green pool. They can't. It's a cleaning problem.
Yeah, I mean, I think the funniest comment I read was from the synchronized divers who commented about, yes, when we land in the water, we can't even see where our partner is.
Those underwater cameras where they look so, like, agile floating to the top. They're like, my eyes, oh, what's going on? They get out of the pool gasping for air. Like, limbs are falling
Yeah, when we
off.
start to see them wearing... When the divers start wearing goggles and nose plugs, then we know that it's becoming a real issue.
They're wearing their snuggies, wearing hazmat suits. Diving into the pool. In The Simpsons, wasn't it the fish that comes out with the 3 eyes? They're interviewing the British pair who won. One's got an extra limb coming out of his head, and the other one's, like, crawling on the ground.
If we're being honest, that should have been the mascot for the Olympic Games, 3-eyed fish.
Yes, it will be.
Or just an algae spore by itself.
I just love the attitude of the Brazilian organisers. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Oh God, this is amazing. And here we were thinking that everything was going okay in Rio. What else? I didn't really watch much else. Actually, no, hang on. The cycling, the time trial. They were showing this bit where it was going on like a beach. It was quite pretty. It was quite nice. But the road was like the area was gravel, and you could tell that they'd just gotten a large bit of like bitumen and like cement and just made like a road out of it. Like it looked very dodgy. And then the commentators were like, "Yes, and that's the concrete part that they installed just for these Olympic Games." I'm like, why do they have to like hold it there? Because it's at the beach, it looks pretty. Again, Brazil, like, oh, it's fine. They can ride on the gravel. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I mean, we had them going over the cobblestones in the road race, and now they're going over this gravel. Who knows what's next? What they're going to ride over next? I don't know what's... The velodrome. What is the surface in the velodrome? We did have a crash there from the Australians in practice, and that could be the reason.
Oh, there's like a leaking pipe with like raw sewage onto the track. That's why. Oh, it's fine. It's fine. It won't hurt you at all. I don't know why Brazilians are Thomas Bach all of a sudden. I blame Thomas Bach. I don't blame Brazil. Anyway. Again, no crowds. There's nobody going to these games still, Jarrod. Like, I mean, have you got your tickets to everything at the moment? We could probably afford it.
Yeah, well, I mean, they have to start doing some kind of package deal here. Obviously, the sailing is free. That's why it's got the big crowds. Just make everything free, or bundle some events together that typically go together. I mean, put the rugby sevens with the synchronized swimming. That's a big overlap of the fan base right there.
Well, you got so many empty seats. You could put a pool in the crowd and make it green. Like, it's, like, why not? Like, have them playing the rugby in the middle of the athletics while they're doing the laps around the the track. Like, that's fine. Have them synchronized swimming in the middle of the 1,500 meter freestyle. I mean, they're there in the pool for long enough. They can dodge and dive between them. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, that would have been the ideal solution. All the events in the one stadium, no matter what it is. The road race, still in that stadium. The sailing, in that stadium, in the pool. Yes. I mean, that would have saved them money. They would have been able to sell a combined ticket. The stadium would be packed. The television stations would love it. They'd only need one channel because everything would be on at the same time, so you could just watch things. Things in the background, things in the foreground. That could be a real solution. Flin Flan 2028, I think they probably will look into that.
Look at us saving the IOC money. We're going to get a phone call from Thomas Bach by the end of this 2 weeks. Like, you boys, you're so good at saving money. You're president of IOC. Like, we'll make sure the pool's not green in Tokyo, Thomas. It's all good. Athlete of the day. Do you have anybody that you've got of note at all, Jarrod?
I have a potential from one of the days that I wasn't here.
Oh, yes. It's not Burto, is it?
So we're going a little bit back in time, and I'm hoping that they haven't been mentioned. Have you talked about Chinese boxer LV Bin?
Oh, look, he was on my list, but no, I didn't get to him yet. So please talk about him. Well,
in perhaps my favourite moment of the game so far, apart from New Zealand finishing 4th in the Equestrian, we had a beautiful boxing match. I don't know what the weight class was. I haven't written it down. But it was between Chinese boxer LV Bin and Kenyan boxer Peter.
Peter. Just like Madonna, one name.
Yeah, Peter, that's it.
Wow, he's obviously huge in Kenya if he just can get away with one name. Oh, Peter. Oh, the boxer, yes.
And the boxing, it comes down to the final round. The judge is there holding both the arms or waiting for the decision on who's won. He raises the Kenyan's arms, and then the Chinese LV Bin, he just has the biggest celebration of his life, not really realizing that he's just lost. And then he comes to realize that, oh, wait, that's not my arm that's raised. I've just lost. And he's so embarrassed, and just the whole spectacle. It's one of the best things I've seen. Make sure you check it out.
Oh, I have to look it up. Was his arm numb because he'd been swimming in the diving pool that morning and lost all sensation, so it felt like his arm was being lifted?
It could be.
Or was he just doing a Derek Zoolander? No matter what happens, he was going to hear his name.
Well, it's just a typical boxing thing, isn't it? That they're so overconfident, they're really cocky, they have to act like they've won, but LVB, he took the acting a little bit too far.
Wow, I'm Googling that straight away. Well, I think that outdoes anything I've got. I was going to mention Carl Chambers and just be cliche. I mean, you know, again, we didn't know who he was 24 hours ago. He should get some recognition. Special note to the Qatari beach volleyball team. I didn't even know there was such a thing as the Qatari beach volleyball team of Jefferson Piera and Sharif Younossi. They're actually doing fairly well. They're in a position where they might make it through to the next round. And I was actually doing a bit of research on these two, and they qualified for the Olympics by winning a qualifying tournament held in Cairns in Australia. So, there you go. We've got a slight connection to the Qataris. They're sitting in second place right now in Pool F, just behind the Spanish team of Guevara and Herrera, and ahead of those Austrians. We know all about them, the Huber and Siddell, and the Americans, Gibbon Patterson. I don't know how the Americans are going to go home, like, knowing that they got beaten by Qataris in beach volleyball. So, it's fascinating, but just a real special. I'm going to give it to you're talking about the boxing, and we're talking about horrific injuries the other day with that French gymnast. I don't know if you saw any of the new one that's going around of the Armenian weightlifter Andranik Karapetayan, one of the greatest Armenian weightlifters that we've ever seen. In the men's 77 kilogram, he was doing his lift, and his arm buckled underneath him, and he has basically dislocated his elbow. And I'm looking at some pretty disturbing images of him holding his arms in the video. I don't know if I want to see the video, but yes, his arm is just looking like it shouldn't. Let's point it that way. So we're talking about those injuries, Jarrod. He's one that's happened.
Yeah. Oh,
he's just seen it. Live reaction.
Yeah, this is similar to the leg. The elbow should not go that way.
No.
Oh.
It's around
yeah, poor guy. I think this is one of the things he would have loved the replacement limb, like the replacement bike.
Yes, exactly. Replacement arm. Like, I need a new arm.
Mm.
Right, I don't really have a wife today, Jarrod. Bad news yesterday. Don't know if you caught it. Sadly for myself, Britt Elmsley, she's got a boyfriend. So don't know how I'm going to go there. And both Colin and I stalked her a little bit on Instagram, found a picture of her boyfriend, and like both I think Colin and I were going to go after her boyfriend instead because he's quite, you know, he's all right. He's pretty good. But yesterday's wife turned in to Brianna Throssell, our 8th place finisher in the 200-metre butterfly. She too sadly has a boyfriend who is a pretty decent footballer playing in Western Australia. A Sandover medalist, I believe, in the waffle. Anybody who doesn't live in Australia has no idea what I just said then. So, yeah, I think I might have to stick to my Croatian nearly legal gymnast Anna Derek. That sounds so wrong the way I put it. But yesterday, well, actually, we found this one yesterday, Jarrod. We love, we know how much you love rhythmic gymnastics and the whole ribbons and the balls and like it's. You think it's a sport. Of course you do. Yesterday's fan message for us went to our only athlete in the rhythmic gymnastics, Daniela Prince. Now, we looked her up. She's, you know, pretty cute. Oh, she's wife material. Last night, they happened to have on Channel 7 one of these athlete profile segments with Daniela Prince. I got excited. And yeah, I'm putting her up there. I'm going to definitely watch her throw that ribbon and attempt to catch it because that is making excited. And to make it even better, Jarrod, you laugh and think, well, this isn't a sport. Australia's not good at rhythmic gymnastics. She is a Commonwealth Games gold medalist at the 2010 Delhi Commonwealth Games. So I think you're getting a little bit jealous right now.
I mean, she's in form. It's really the pinnacle of the sporting world, rhythmic gymnastics. Yeah, so I may have to give it a watch this year.
Absolutely. They were showing some of her training routines, the way she was rolling the balls and laying on her shoulders and her arms. Like, doing things to me. Channel 7. Shit. That's our segment that we like to call this. And I'm adding a new section to this one today, Jarrod. It's called news.com.au. Even shitter. We'll get to them. But let's first of all, Channel 7, before I get to a couple of the commentary ones, we talked a little bit about the other day Zumbo's Just Desserts. I talked a little bit about yesterday about the big music quiz. Like, only in Australia do they create a show about celebrities trying to guess who sings a song. I mean, we're all for that. But have you noticed the constant referrals by the commentators on each of the channels as on the channels of 7? Now, am I the only one that annoys the shit out of?
No, yeah, that's so pretentious, and yeah, I'm with you on that. I haven't heard it, but now that you've mentioned it, I can just guarantee that every time I do hear it, it's going to make my blood boil. It's like they're this big entity, they're taking over the world, the channels of 7.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm all aboard. I'm with you aboard that train of hating that.
Yep. Now, the other few ones that I've noted here, we know how they have, if you're watching a certain channel, they'll bring up like the little ribbon down the bottom, like Aussie alert. You know, Burto's about to lose us a goal. Switch to 7, mate. I noticed the one this morning, after we'd won the gold, after Kyle had won us our gold medal, they pop up the ribbon down the bottom, Anthem alert. Kyle Chalmers about to receive gold. Anthem alert! It's like breaking news. The Australian national anthem is about to be played somewhere in the world. Get excited! Like, what the hell is an anthem alert?
I mean, is that making people turn to the channel or turn away from the channel? Maybe this is just like a warning for people who can't stand the anthem. The anthem is coming. Yep. Change channels now.
Yep.
I mean, we're just going to start seeing them from everything, aren't we? Australia arrives at the airport, alert. Australia walks out of the Olympic Village, alert. Algae in the pool, alert.
Yes. But I mean, we were talking a little bit about this yesterday, actually, because at the swimming, we mentioned earlier during the week about Colin mentioned the Canadian coverage, how they had a former Olympian watching a Canadian Olympian winning a medal. That was like important enough to show. We had the footage yesterday of them cutting to the Olympic Village, showing Australian swimmers on their phones on Twitter. It was after Sun Yang won his gold medal yesterday. They cut to Mac Horton, who's sitting on this couch in the Athletes Village on his phone. To which Basil Zemplis is like, clearly tweeting about Sun Yang there. And they did this again. They cut to the Athletes Village to show Australia's swimmers' athletes' reaction to Kyle Chalmers winning the 100 metres. Now, my question I ask here is not necessarily Channel 7 showing this. Why the hell are these swimmers not in the stands at the actual swimming, cheering them on? I remember Sydney 2000. They cut to the Aussie team in the crowd. You know, Thorpe winning gold. You know, Grant Hackett winning gold. They're in the crowd. They're cheering them. Why are they being lazy bastards and sitting in there? Like, are they... No wonder there's empty seats. Even the athletes aren't going to watch the athletes.
Yeah, I think hashtag one team was taken a little bit too literally. And they didn't understand that actually meant getting out and supporting each other rather than just hashtagging that on Twitter. I mean, they're trying to get that trending. I'm proud of them for doing that, but yeah, really, they should be out supporting each other. I mean, that's the point of the Olympics. I think it was John Millman said that he was going to stick around and watch the other tennis players finish their matches after he got eliminated. I mean, that's what you want to see from a team, sticking together, going beyond hashtag one team and actually being one team.
You know what it is? The reason they're sitting around the couches on their phones is because they're all on freaking Tinder. Like, how many condoms did they say were going to be in the Athletes Village? This is what they're doing. They're all trying to hook up. This is millennials, Jarrod. This is what they do. You know, like, we can't exactly talk. We're basically millennials ourselves. But, like, this is the future of the Olympics. This is why nobody's in the crowds, because it's the athletes who are too busy trying to hook up on Tinder. So... Yeah,
it's either that or I question maybe they're training for when esports inevitably makes its debut at the Olympic Games.
Actually,
I mean, because won't that be a great day?
Actually, you know what it is? I have not mentioned this in any of our episodes, and I've had it written down on my notes every single day, but I just haven't got around to it. Don't know if you've downloaded the official mobile video game for the Rio 2016 Olympics. They're all on that playing. It's actually kind of addicting. You can do archery, you can do tennis on it, you can do basketball. It's kind of fun. Like, and with the absence of an actual proper video game, unless you buy the Sonic and Mario one, I like it. So, like, I'm guessing that's what they're doing, Jarrod. They're actually, there's Mac Horton going, I'm going to win a gold medal in archery today. Sticking up those bronze medalists from the real archery.
Yeah, I can just see them doing that and then going to rub it in their faces.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously those sports are very similar. Playing it on your phone and doing it in real life, I imagine that the difference is minimal at best.
Yeah, exactly. Now, just before I get to the news.com.au ones, just a couple of the commentary ones that I've written here. I mentioned the whole Basil, not knowing who Chalmers is in the race. Now, a couple ones here. I can't remember the name of the guy who's always on pool deck interviewing people. The guy who got fobbed off by Michael Phelps, we were talking about yesterday. But I don't know, I can't remember who was interviewing, but it's so Australian. Turns around to whoever is interviewing, bloody good race and a bloody good effort. If there's people from Australia not watching this, they're going, wow, they really do sound like that in Australia. Then Taylor McCowan, who was mentioned before, fastest to the 200-metre breaststroke. In her interview, she says, she's the fastest qualifier, but still says, look, I've got more in the tank. By saying that, she says, I didn't want to come to the Olympics and spend all my chips in the semis. Now, I've never heard of the phrase, spend all my chips.
Yeah, that's a confusing one. She needs to take some media lessons. Surely she'll be having a talking to. She might get some good tips from #OneTeam. Obviously, she wasn't on Twitter enough to get a good saying for her interview, so she needs to work on that.
I think that there's a large portion of the Australian Olympic team needs some media training. Between calling out drug cheats and starting wars with China to wishing, saying people are dead to them, like this. It's a bit tedious, the whole, boys put in good effort all 4 quarters, there's no iron team. Like, it's bullshit, but it does the job. You're not starting splashing wars with, like, a world superpower. So, yes, get the media training. Now, news.com.au, they've always been a fun website to which people, quote, are a news website. Now, they've obviously sent a few reporters over to Rio, or they're doing a few things here and there, and they've got their lovely little articles. Now, the one that I've singled out here that I noticed yesterday, they've highlighted a swimmer by the name of Robel Kiros Habati. Now, he's from Ethiopia. Now, this is, it's not just the fact, like, why the hell's an Ethiopian swimming? Their headline is, how did Robel Kiros Habati qualify to swim in the Olympics? Like, that's the literally headline. To which they say, if some swimmers consider second place to be the first of the losers, spare a thought for Ethiopian swimmer, blah, blah, blah. By the time the chubby 24-year-old... I'm just going to end it there. Like, they're basically saying, this guy's fat, he shouldn't be in the Olympics. Now, personally, I'm offended. Secondly, if he's in the Olympics, if he's Ethiopia's best swimmer, he's qualified for the Olympics, good on him. Who cares if he's skinny or fat? This is fascinating that our number one online website is saying he's fat, he shouldn't be in the Olympics.
Yeah, I think this is a case of the gold medals going to the head. We had that day of not winning really anything, and now we get a couple of gold medals and we feel we can just bag everybody else out. Which, I mean, we do, but we probably shouldn't.
Probably being an understatement. Now, the other one that I forgot to bring up the other day, when America won the gold, I think it was in the 4x1 in the men's, there was a famous moment, already famous. Ryan Held, one of the swimmers, was caught bawling his eyes out, absolutely crying. So, of course, everyone was all like, oh, sweet, how emotional, blah, blah, blah. So this journalist on news.com.au, I'm going to name him, James Matthey, he leads with the following sentence. This is the opening line of his story. Ryan Held must know how Justin Bieber feels. Now, I'll continue here. Not in regards to the whole con your way into earning millions of dollars for producing shit music thing, though. We're thinking more along the lines of somehow convincing a large chunk of the female population to fall in love with you variety. This is a guy who has probably gotten a degree in journalism. He's probably as qualified as I am. And he's writing on a website comparing an Olympian to Justin Bieber before saying Justin Bieber produces shit music. Now, I learnt in journalism that you have to be fairly unbiased and you're not really meant to be opinionated when it comes to stories a lot of the time. That is ridiculous.
Yeah, tell us how you really feel, James. I didn't even know what to say to that.
How can a website that is pertaining to being news somehow compare an Olympic swimmer to Justin Bieber before throwing away a comment saying that Bieber produces shit music? Oh, so that's why we're now going to call this Channel 7 shit and news.com.au even shitter. So, what will be on tomorrow? Find out. Now, this is usually the point of the show where Colin gives us a Canadian athlete of the day and reads out their profile. Now, obviously he's not here, but I've managed to somehow find one. They've got this on their website as well as their app. Now, I was trying to find the profile of our richest Canadian Olympian in Penny Olsiak. But I couldn't find her, so I've managed to find a random one, a field hockey player from Canada. They actually know what that is. And Tony Kindler, one of your favourite Canadian field hockers, I don't doubt, Jarrod. So, anyway. So, it starts off with, my name is Antony Kindler, and I am Canadian. Draw a picture of yourself, as we know. Now, this picture is like a stick figure with meat on their bones and very strong muscles and spiky hair. And he writes a little text next to it. Wish I could say a 5-year-old drew this. Actually, if a 5-year-old drew that, I'd be very impressed. It's quite a good drawing. He's got very neat writing, by the way, should I say this for our Antony. My favourite Olympic moment is Canada winning gold in hockey, that's ice hockey, at the 2010 Vancouver Olympics, and being in the city to take part in the celebration. That's nice. If you could choose an Olympic city to host a city, where would it be? Vancouver for the Summer Games. In my spare time, I most like to spend time with my family and friends. That's pretty boring. The weirdest instruction a coach ever gave me was, now he's actually written something, crossed it out, and then written something underneath it. Listen here, boys. We can't just have you out here making big truck turns. We need Ferrari turns. Now, I played field hockey for a very long time, and I don't think I ever heard a coach try and explain something to me like that. So, whatever a Ferrari turn is. Anyway, drew a picture of a Canadian animal. He's actually drawn a beaver. We talked about this the other day, Jarrod. No one draws a beaver. He's drawn a beaver. So, that's a good start. Favourite sandwich, meatball from Meat and Bread on Canby Street in Vancouver. Bit of subtle advertising there. Good venue there in Vancouver. Like, I've been to Vancouver, but can't quite say I went to Meat and Bread on Canby Street. Official food supplier for the Flin Flon 2028 games. If you could have any superpower, it would be teleportation. Again, everybody says that. Best candy in the world, those black and white penguin gummies that taste like peaches from 7-Eleven. Oh, yes. Those ones.
Very popular in Australia.
Huge. Love them. Favourite sports team as a kid? Well, he's clearly from Vancouver because his favourite team is the Vancouver Canucks. His Olympic medal is literally a medal with the Rio 2016 logo on it that says gold. Nothing original there. Favourite sports movie? He's crossed out Happy Gilmore and written Nacho Libre. Like, come on, Happy Gilmore. If he could live anywhere, he would live in Kitsilano in Vancouver, BC. I'd love it if one of these said Flin Flon. That would be the best thing ever. If he wasn't, when he was little, he thought he'd be a firefighter. My favourite joke to tell is, what does a nosy pepper do? Get jalapeno business. Yep. I don't get it. Yeah, it must be a Canadian thing. Colin probably would be laughing his ass off right now. My favourite workout is... If you're listening to this, Colin, please explain to us what the hell that means. My favourite workout is beach weights. If I could have lunch with any person, it would be Warren Buffett. And write in cursive, live your passion. And he's written, live your passion. So... Thank you so much.
Full marks there.
Absolutely. So on this, have you downloaded the Australian Olympic app yet, Jarrod? You got it yet?
I have.
Oh,
I have.
Oh, have you got some fan messages, perhaps, for once?
Maybe. You have put me on the spot.
All right. Well, while you get it up, I've got a few here. You missed our J-Mac. Were you here for J-Mac the other day? I don't think you were you?
I was here for J-Mac.
You were here for J-Mac.
That was before Burto screwed my life over.
That's true, that's right. Yesterday's fan message, we, as I said, sent it off to Danielle Prince, and the exact line was, no matter what Jarrod says, we think you compete in a real sport. So Jessie from New South Wales to Emma McKeon. Hi, Emma. I'll watch you on the TV winning the race. Good luck from Jessie. So if she doesn't win, will you stop watching? Here's a Tasmanian, Jasper Kubank from Tasmania. To Chris Goulding, good luck at the Olympics and your NBL career. Keep up the good work. We know you will try your hardest to win us a gold medal. We will be here cheering you on. That's good to know. To Larissa Miller from Jessica Lewis, great gymnastics. You inspire me. So that's good. To Mary Hannah, she's the 61-year-old, isn't she? From Mieta in Victoria. Hi, Granny, love you. I really hope that's her granddaughter. Otherwise, she's just being mean. Oh, please tell us that is her granddaughter. And finally, the McCartney family. I don't know if you've got any more here to add, Jarrod, but to Elia Green. Elia, you just make it look like fun. The best bit was seeing you interviewed by your mum. We like that a lot, and send you lots of hugs to you both. We are proud of you, and your mum, and all the team. One of our Rugby Sevens players. Did you find any there at all, Jarrod? Or
not much to add. I do love to Maria for Ataco del Sola. I love you, Maria Fataco. You're a great woman. Yeah. From Javier.
Damn straight.
Beautiful.
I'm just trying to see some of these. They're pretty boring, aren't they? Natasha Grogan from Queensland to Taliqua Clancy. She's one of our beach volleyball players, isn't she? Too deadly, sister. That's nice. This one is to hockey. We discovered this yesterday, that you could send one to the entire sport. Somehow we didn't know how to do it, but whatever. From Isabel Soto, we not just had that person. To hockey. Watching you girls right now up against India. You girls are awesome. Keep up the awesomeness. So, anyway, right. What sport? Who are we going to send it to today, Jarrod? Give me a sport.
I mean, it's got to be the divers, isn't it? Diving into that green pool.
Oh, bloody oath. I don't know if they'll be able to read. I mean, well, they might have extra eyes. So, alright, find an athlete. Diving. Okay, so who do we want? We've got Dominic Bedgood. Oh, we've got to give it to him straight away. Like, I'm not even reading the rest. Like, he's good in bed. Good on you, Dominic. Like, there's nothing better than that. Wow, his nickname is Dom. I didn't realise this had their nicknames and things like that on it. That's awesome. He was first in the 2006 Australian Open Championships, 6th in the World Series in Kazan in Russia, and most importantly, 11th in the 2006 World Series in Windsor, Canada, this year. So, of course, went to Belmont State Primary School in Queensland. What a school that is. All right, what are we going to say to Mr. Bedgood? Your bedding good might not be anymore with the green pool. I don't know. It'd be a shame if he didn't live up to his name. You dive well. Don't get an extra limb. I don't know. Maybe you should pee in the pool to make it green and gold.
Oh, there's a thought.
Oh, it's got to be that, doesn't it? Like,
yeah. Make
sure you pee in the pool and make it. The AOC are just got to end up banning our email address. Make sure you pee in the pool and make it green and gold. There we go. There's a gold medal coming to Dominic Bedgood. And if you've also bedded Dominic, let us know if his name lives up to his reputation. Or his reputation lives up to his name. That probably works more sense. Anyway, that's good. All right, preview, day 6. We're on to the 6th day tomorrow. That's usually what happens. 19 gold medals are up today, Jarrod, if you don't mind. A lot going on. Golf starts today. Oh, aren't we excited? How long's it been since golf's been in the Olympics? Talk about TV sports. Oh, I'm excited for this.
Potentially not long enough.
Potentially not long enough. Now, I think maybe tomorrow we might talk about this. We haven't really gone on too much about sports that should be an Olympic sport. Now, golf, obviously, alongside with rugby, returning to the Olympics for the very first time. Just really quickly, do you think golf should be an Olympic sport?
Really quickly? No.
That's as quick as we needed. All right. Track cycling begins tomorrow as well. So the medals that are being decided, so we're going to have some medals in table tennis. We're on to that one. Swimming, obviously, again. Shooting, again. Rugby sevens, last day of competition for that. The men's medals. Come on, Fiji. Knock off the Japanese. Rowing, well, they need to catch up on that one. More judo. Sad news there, Jarrod. Only 2 more days of judo to go. So whatever shall we do?
No.
Last day for... Oh, well, actually, in terms of the all-around women, last day of artistic gymnastics. We'll have a couple of days break before trampolining, before we're back to the individuals of the real gymnastics there. Fencing, another gold being decided there. Track cycling kicks off today, as I mentioned. Tomorrow, I should say. Canoeing. Now, this is a big one for Australia. 2 golds go up to grabs, including our very own Jess Fox, of course, qualified second for the semi-final. Got to make the final yet. She's one of our big chances here, Jarrod. Are we going to put the Mickey or the curse on her and say she's going to win it, or are we just going to hope that she gets a medal?
I think we just jinx her and say she's going to win it. I mean, she's already won a silver. We've got silvers now. We don't need any more of those. We've got 5 bronze. I don't think we need any more of those, so we need gold. And if you don't get gold, don't come home.
There you go. Pure and simple. If only you had said that to Burto 2 days ago. Jarrod's not holding back now with our athletes. We know that she's a big listener to Off the Podium. You know, she gets a Beats by Dre before going down on the canoe, and she's actually listening to us instead of, listening to the Bieber who produces shit music. So, yes, come on, Jess. We'll get excited. And archery medals there. So, just quickly, this is fairly decent. We're only about a day away now from athletics starting, so get excited for that. And we're ever closer to the modern pentathlon. So, bring it on, I say. Exciting times. Jarrod, just before we go, we should mention, in terms of, obviously we always mention our Facebook page, email, iTunes, all the regular channels where you can get involved, send us messages, tweet us. We don't have a Twitter actually, but use hashtag Off the Podium and we'll find it somewhere. Now, we mentioned yesterday's show, we had a couple of comments from 2 New Zealanders. Big shout out to Carly as well as to Riley for commenting there. Now, Carly's left us another comment where she's written "shakes head, wink face." So clearly she's loving it. And we had a couple of wall posts as well. Catherine, one of our long-term listeners for anything on the Oz Network, she's written "stupid Channel 7. So I get home from work, switching on the TV to watch some highlights. And what is 7-2 playing? Swimming from Beijing." Well, you should have been watching 7 Mate, Catherine. That's where it's at. And Carly actually mentioned her. She this one's doing the rounds a little bit. It's quite funny. Posted a photo on our wall. It's from the Glasgow Commonwealth Games. They've got I'm guessing he's a swimmer or a diver. His name is Richard Funk. But because he's from Canada with the 3-letter symbol of CAN, the screen literally says, "Can Richard Funk?" So I think that's quite funny. So thank you very much, Carly, for sending that in to us. And just quickly on iTunes, we made it to number 3 on the Amateur Sports Podcast in Australia. That's pretty good. We'll take it. And we got an extra comment since our last time on here. Carly in Oz, thanks Carly, says, "These guys should be doing the official commentary." Well, if you work for Channel 7 or any of these networks, I'm sure like the Sierra Leone TV network might be short in a few commentators. I'll happily fly over with Jarrod and Colin to commentate the fake gymnastics. So, thank you, Carly. Please, iTunes, subscribe to us on there, and yes, leave us a rating, even if you think we're shit. Like, even if you honestly think we're shit, tell us we're shit, so we can bag you out on air at least, and say that we're not shit, you're shit. But Jarrod, thank you for your time again. It's good to have you back. And, dressage is there still, but, Burto, not welcome back home in Australia, clearly, by your standards.
Yeah, I mean, the dressage, that's been... I'm boycotting that. I'm not getting my hopes up. I think you said we're in 9th, and that's where I'm just going to assume we stay. Apart from that, everything else is looking good. Looking forward to the basketball tonight. It'll be good to get to see it. And for the cycling, the velodrome to get underway, I mean, that'll be really good.
Hopefully it will stay in one piece, how it all goes. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow with more Off the Podium. It's been a bloody good episode today, and remember, don't spend all your chips on listening to us. Good night from Off the Podium.